Right now, you are reading this sentence, and you probably think you chose to do that. You think you picked up your phone, opened this video, and decided to watch. You think that was you. But what if it wasn't? What if every decision you have ever made, who you love, what you eat, whether you smiled at a stranger this morning, was already decided before you were even aware of it? Not by fate, not by God, but by your own brain, without asking you. This is not philosophy, this is neuroscience. And once you understand what the science actually says, you will never look at your own choices the same way again. Here is where it starts. In 1983, a neuroscientist named Benjamin Libet ran an experiment that quietly broke the idea of free will in half. He asked participants to flex their wrist whenever they felt like it, whenever they chose to, freely, voluntarily, no instructions on timing, just, whenever you want, move your wrist. Simple. But Libet was measuring two things simultaneously: the moment the participants reported becoming aware of their decision to move, and the moment their brain began preparing to move, detected through electrical activity called the readiness potential. What he found stopped people cold. The brain began preparing the movement up to 550 milliseconds before the person was consciously aware of deciding to move, more than half a second. The brain had already started before the conscious mind knew anything was happening. The decision was made before you knew you made it. You were informed after the fact. You were, in a very precise and measurable sense, the last to know. Libet's experiment has been repeated, refined, challenged, and expanded for 4 decades. In 2008, researchers at the Max Planck Institute used brain imaging to push the finding even further. They found they could predict which hand a participant would choose to press a button with up to 7 seconds before the participant was aware of deciding. 7 seconds. Your brain had already committed. Your conscious self was still standing outside, waiting to be let in. Now, here is where your brain will try to escape this. You are probably thinking, but I could have changed my mind. I could have stopped. Libet actually tested this too. He asked participants to veto the movement at the last second, to feel the urge rising and then consciously cancel it. And they could. The veto itself, however, showed up in brain activity before the conscious experience of vetoing. The cancellation was also prepared without you. So what does this mean? It does not mean you are a robot. It does not mean nothing matters. What it means is far stranger and more interesting than either of those things. It means consciousness may not be the driver of your behavior, it may be the narrator. The part of your brain that experiences decisions may exist to make sense of what your brain has already done, to construct a story, to give you the feeling of authorship over a process that did not begin with you. Think about the last time you made what felt like a spontaneous choice. You reached for the coffee instead of the tea. You called someone you hadn't spoken to in months. You said something you didn't plan to say. In each of those moments, something in you felt like the origin of the action, the initiator, the chooser. But your brain had already moved. This does not make your life meaningless. Here is what it actually does. It changes where you look for meaning. If the conscious self is not the sole author of your choices, then the question is not whether you have free will. The question is what you are. You are a system, an extraordinarily complex biological system that generates experience, sensation, memory, and something that feels exactly like choice. And that system is shaped by everything that has ever happened to you, your childhood, your fears, the face of the first person who was kind to you, the moment that broke you open. All of it is in there, running, shaping what your brain prepares before you know it is preparing anything. Your choices are real. They are just not made where you think they are made. And that is not a small thing. That is everything. Because experience, that is entirely yours. The next time you make a decision, any decision, notice the moment you become aware of it. Because somewhere just before that moment, in the silence before consciousness catches up, your brain had already begun. It had already chosen. And the you that you think of as yourself arrived just in time to experience the consequence. You are not the driver, you never were. But here is the thing no scientist can explain away. You are the one sitting in the seat. You are the one who feels the wind. You are the one who remembers the journey. And maybe, just maybe, that is enough to call it yours. The brain chose, but you lived it.